What is going on, guys? My name is Kenji and welcome back to my channel. Hopefully it's not the first time you're watching one of my videos, but just in case it is, I'm a doctor working in London. And guys, in this video, I'll be telling you guys about how I was actually able to stay motivated through 8 years of university. That's including 3 years of my undergraduate degree in biomedical science, 5 years in medical school, and also how I'm able to stay motivated every single day as a doctor in my life. So let's go ahead and talk about the very first tip I have for you guys, which is that motivation comes through action and not the other way around. Now, oftentimes we can really put off doing a certain task because we actually think, I'm not going to do that task until the day that I feel motivated. But what we actually get wrong is that motivation comes through action and through giving the actual task a go. And then once you actually start doing the given task, the motivation starts to build up and allows you to continue doing what you want to do. Because let's be honest, the hardest part of doing anything is just getting the first few minutes done. And once you actually start doing the thing, you start realizing that it's actually kind of fun. So to give you guys an example of this, every single day whenever I go to the gym, I always think, God, I have to get changed, I have to drive to the gym, I have to like set up my equipment and all of these things, and that just, is not something I look forward to. But the second that I start working out, a couple of minutes later when I'm actually sweating and have my heart rate pumped, I start realizing, actually, hold on, this is pretty fun, I'm actually enjoying myself. And especially when I actually, get to the end of the workout and I look back and say, you know what, I'm so glad I made it to the gym today, I feel 100 times better, and now I actually have more motivation to get going tomorrow because I've actually started doing the given thing. Normally when I don't go to the gym for more than 2 days in a row, that's when I really start finding it hard to get that motivation to get going. So don't worry about trying to find the motivation to get started. Try your best to start doing the thing, and then as you start doing it, you'll actually realize that you enjoy it and it's much easier to keep going. That's the first tip. Let's move on to the next one. The second hack to staying motivated throughout revision or whatever you want to do is to try your best to reward yourself. Now, this is the classic, sort of Pavlov dogs, whatever it's called. That scientific concept in school that we're taught when the scientist rang a bell, and whenever he rang the bell, the dogs came and started salivating and they got used to hearing a bell and eating. You know what I'm talking about if you went to school. And that's pretty much the exact same thing, right? Humans are animals too, and our minds and bodies react in the exact same way. So if you're finding it really hard to get motivated, honestly, try your best to reward yourself and know that if I get this task done, if I get this work done, then afterwards I'll reward myself. And that can be literally in any capacity. To give you guys an example, what I normally do is when I sit down and have a very big filming session for my YouTube channel, when I tell myself, Kenji, I'm gonna get through 4 videos, the way that I actually trick myself to get it done is I'll promise myself and I'll say to myself, look, I'll sit down, I'll get 4 videos filmed, and at the end of the 4 videos, I will go on my phone and I'll order any sort of takeaway that I want on Deliveroo. Now, again, it could be in any capacity, not necessarily, spending money, but let's say you're in the library, let's say you have a big session planned out and you have a couple of hours where you just have to sit down and study. Maybe every 2 or 3 hours, you can walk to the cafeteria, get yourself a small coffee, maybe do a walk around the campus because you enjoy fresh air. No matter what it is, whether it's a big reward or a small reward, try your best to reward yourself, and that hopefully will give you that extra edge when trying to stay motivated to do a certain task. The third hack that I suggest to keep you guys motivated is to try your best to make whatever you're doing as fun as you possibly can. And I actually wrote down a couple of things to tell you guys how I personally like to make the things that I don't want to do very fun. The first way is by studying with your friends. Now, when I was in medical school, and obviously don't choose friends who like to chat and are very distracting, but if you have a friendship group that all have the same goal as you and they all want to sit together and work together, that can actually be quite fun. So I remember during medical school, I would arrange library sessions with all my friends, whether that's in person or on Zoom calls. We'll all get together, we'll do an hour of revision, and then we'll take a 5-10 minute break to chat about our lives. We'll go for lunch at lunchtime, come back and study, go play ping pong at 4 p.m. You get what I'm trying to say here. So studying with friends is a really nice way to add motivation. Second tip is to go to a location that you actually like. So whenever I had a long essay to write, I would always go to a lovely coffee shop where I loved the vibe, I loved the staff, I loved, working there. This happened a lot when I was, back home in Kenya, and I'd go home for the holidays. I loved working outside, so I'd go to my favorite cafe every single day. I'd spend, maybe £3 on a coffee every single day, and that £3, was worth, getting me to actually do the work because I'd sit outside in the sun and I'd really, really enjoy it. The third way is to, again, have a coffee. So whenever I work, whenever I have a big recording session, I normally have a nice tea or a coffee with me. And again, that's just a nice thing to just have and sip on as you're working, and that can really help encouraging you. And lastly on my list here, studying with music in the background. Now I actually have a Spotify study with me playlist, which I'll link down below. And I love having music on the background whenever I'm studying or whenever I'm at home, and just having that, music that I really enjoy really helps me study and do the things that I don't want to do. That's this tip. Let's move on to the next one. The next tip that I have for you guys to stay motivated is to try your best to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. And this goes back to the idea of having a why for what you do, a why for your will. So if you're studying or you're trying to achieve a certain goal, you must be doing it for a reason. And it's really important every single day to try your best to remind yourself of that reason whenever you feel demotivated. So for example, when I was in medical school, whenever I was in the library, I always told myself that right now this may not seem significant, this might feel like a waste of time, but I'm here for a reason. I'm in the library because one day it will be me who'll be the doctor who has to go and attend to the patient and actually start treatment to save their life. So I reminded myself that this is not for nothing. I'm doing it for a very big reason, and that's true. Now as a doctor, everything I do on a daily basis is known and is done because I actually spend time. I spent hours on hours on hours, literally hundreds of hours in the library, learning how all of these things work, learning how to treat diseases, identify diseases, and that's what's allowing me to help save lives as often as I possibly can on my day job. Now, it doesn't have to be significant, significant as that, saving lives. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're studying, there must be a reason you're doing it, whether it's to help your family one day, whether it's to make your mom proud, whether it's to make you proud, whatever the reason is, write it down, put it up on your wall, and remind yourself of that every single day. The next motivation hack that I have for you guys is to try your best to shift your mindset into, rather than I have to do this, shift your mindset into I get to do this. Now, whenever I have to do something that I don't enjoy, whether that's sitting down, studying and revising, or going to the gym, I always remind myself, you know what? I get to do this. I don't have to do this. Particularly when I'm going to work every single day as a doctor. In the mornings, it can be really tiring waking up, getting ready for work, being in the ward at 8 a.m. But I remind myself, Kenji, you get to do this. There's many people who would love to be a doctor, who would love to take your place. So don't complain. Remind yourself that I get to do this. It's an actual privilege to get to do what I do. So whether you're in the library, whether you're studying, no matter what you're doing, just try and make that simple change in your mindset. If you're going to the gym, you get to go to the gym. Some people don't have money to pay for a gym membership, so you get to go to the gym. You get to do what you want to do. And that slight psychological frame shift really helps me out every single day to keep going. Now, it's also super important to understand that at the end of the day, motivation is a myth. Although being motivated, of course, is important and you need to try your best to be motivated, at the end of the day, what will really make the difference in achieving what you want in life is to try your best to be as disciplined as possible. You can try all of these motivation hacks, all these tricks to stay motivated, but what it will come down to is how disciplined you actually are. The fact is, you won't be motivated every single day. Some days are good, some days are bad, some days you might be really undermotivated or really unhappy, but what actually comes in place of motivation when motivation is gone is your discipline. My final advice would be to remember all of these tips I give you guys, apply them every single day, but also try your best to work on your discipline. Make sure that you have the habit of studying every single day or as often as you possibly can. Make sure you have the habit to go to the gym and do everything else you want in your life, because that is really what is going to make the big difference when it comes to being motivated for whatever you want to do in life. Now, that's all the tips I have for you guys on today's video. Before you leave, here are a bunch of videos on my channel that you might find interesting. If it's helped you out in any way, shape or form, please do the channel a favor and leave a like down below. Make sure you subscribe with notifications on to never miss another upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.